Hello and welcome along to another episode of PL Seasons to Remember. On today's show, we're going to be speaking about the final game of the Premier League, which was on Sunday. Been a while since we've been on. Now we've got a bit of a break now until Champions League starts in a couple of weeks. So, Bob, we're back and good to be back.
Yeah.
Today. So, as we said, on the final day, just for anyone that didn't know or couldn't remember what happened, the battle for the top four and the battle to stay in the Premier League and relegation all took place. So, Bob, over to you. Give us a starting point and we'll have a go.
Well, I think the term dead rubber comes to mind. There was a few dead rubbers that day. It was quite interesting that there was some things to play for on the final day because, as we know, the title had been wrapped up. And relegation, apart from one place, pretty much, well, it is two, but, it was one team was only going to survive. It wasn't like two teams could survive. It wasn't going to be. It was going to be one team out of three. So the dead rubber games, I'll just read these out. So Burnley lost to Brighton 2-1 at home. I saw that on the highlights. It was pretty much one of those games where I think Brighton just got a bit of rubber the green that day, and the VAR. The VAR decision was the correct decision to rule out the Burnley equaliser, so can't complain. Man City destroyed Norwich 5-0. Pretty standard. Again, Norwich scored a goal that got ruled out by VAR, but again, it was a correct decision. Southampton beat Sheffield United 3-1, coming back from 1-0 down, which Southampton I think have had a brilliant season, considering where they ended up when you look at the parallels with Leicester, when Leicester hammered, was it like 7-0 or something? It was absolutely ridiculous, wasn't it?
9, wasn't it?
Was it 9? So it was that long ago, Dougie.
I know.
But you look at when those two teams have gone since then, it's almost like Southampton got a kick up the backside and Leicester got a bit of false confidence, if that makes sense. So yeah, great season for Southampton. Danny Ings, got another one, so he's up there. I think he's going to be on the list for teams potentially wanting a striker in the Premier League. Premier League proven, scored lots of goals. I'm sure you'd probably like to have seen him back at Liverpool. Now, maybe if he'd gone out on loan, it would have worked out better for you because scoring a hell of a lot of goals. But anyway, brilliant for him. And then the last dead rubber game was the champions. Liverpool won 3-1 away at Newcastle. Newcastle scored after like a minute or something. It was ridiculous, wasn't it? And then Liverpool I thought all Liverpool goals were absolute quality, to be honest with you. I thought they were all brilliant goals.
Three really good goals.
So, anything to say on that, or just?
I think it was a really nice way to end the season. We didn't start the front three. I was pretty disappointed again to see Adam Lallana not play. That would have been his final game. He should have really come on. No, he didn't get on. I said when we played yourselves in midweek. I was expecting him to come on then, but maybe because we're in talks in Brighton now. He's officially gone to Brighton now.
Yeah, so maybe to keep him fresh. Yeah.
Then it was to play. But yeah, good luck to Adam Lallana. He was a good servant when he was fit. But yeah, a good end to the season by Liverpool. Again, on a couple of weeks' time when it all starts.
6 weeks or something, yeah. Something I want to say about Adam Lallana, I think that is a brilliant signing for Brighton. I think they've got a hell of a player there, so that'll be very interesting. Yeah, I will apologise if you can hear the washing machine in the background, by the way, but I can't do anything about it.
We put shows on about Newcastle, maybe Adam Lallana would suit Newcastle, but quite surprised when he's gone to Brighton. I think Brighton have got they've got a steal there. I don't know how much they paid for him, but I think it's a good one.
Yeah, was he not on a free? Was his contract not finished?
He might have been a free. I'm not quite sure. They've got if not else.
Something with Newcastle is that takeover seems to be taking a while, and we actually got a bit of an update on that. And it seems like there's something where the Premier League are not sure who's going to be in charge. So it sounds a bit dodgy to me. I don't know what it is, but
I think when it takes long, it shouldn't take so long. But when it does take so long, you have that little doubt. And I think a lot of Newcastle fans thinking, "Oh no,
they're going to be stuck on Mike Ashley again." Yeah,
we're thinking, "Oh no." But again, that's things where it's going to be like it's going to be long and drawn out. And for Steve Bruce as well, he wants to know where he is. He wants to know where he's. Yeah. I think he deserves a good crack at it really next season.
And now that transfer window's open, Newcastle want that deal in so they can go buy players, because I feel like Steve Bruce has worked miracles with that team, because that team is not the best thing. Some Newcastle fans don't even think Steve Bruce has done that good of a job, whereas I have to disagree with that. I think they've never were in danger of going down, were they? Which is what I expected.
I think he's an okay man. I think he's a good Premier League manager, Steve Bruce. I think he's a good Premier League manager. He's never going to be.
He does have a shelf life. I think he's got 3 years, hasn't he? And then he starts. Yeah.
He's never going to be like he's never going to get that top 7 job, is he? But
and if they get money in, they're going to get someone else.
Anything higher than 15th or 13th for Newcastle will be seen as a good season because the last couple of seasons they've been battling relegation all the time, so they've been very much away from that. In the final season.
And they've had some good results this season. They beat Man United and they drew at home to Man City, didn't they, as well? So they've had some good results. They're not. It's not like it's been, but some Newcastle fans still aren't satisfied. But maybe they're just fed up with the Mike Ashley.
I think they're just fed up in general, aren't they? I think they're fed up in general.
And you look at Joelinton. What's that? Sorry.
It's the longest FA Cup run they've had as well in a long time.
Yeah. And you look at like Joelinton. It's been a kind of a bit of a flop, hasn't he? And possibly one of the, if we were gonna, well, maybe we'll do an episode on who we think the worst player of the season's been, which would be a bit harsh, but he's up there, he's in that discussion of worst.
It's a lot of money as well.
Yeah. But maybe we should.
Brilliant for Newcastle. St. Maximan's been brilliant for Newcastle. Yeah,
he's been a good player. Yeah, but I think maybe we could do an awards episode or something where we give out like best player. Best manager, worst player, and we'll obviously have some nominees, and then we'll decide, unanimously which ones we think. So we'll get that in. Yeah, we've got another week, haven't we, before you go away?
Yeah.
So we can get it in next week. Yeah. So moving on to, do you want to do top 4 battle or relegation first? What would you rather do?
We'll start with relegation if you want.
Okay. So relegation was poised pretty beautifully, wasn't it? Where we had Watford, Aston Villa, and Bournemouth who could stay up. The only thing was for me, which disappointed me, was I always think back to 2005, where literally every time someone scored a goal, it was like somebody moved a place. I kind of wanted that again, and we didn't really get it because Watford, did they go 3-0 down to Arsenal or 3-1? Was it? Yeah, 3-0 down to Arsenal pretty quickly. Bournemouth kind of did play around and they scored and everything equalised in there. But Aston Villa it were just staying at a draw, and they only needed a draw, didn't they, to stay up?
Yeah.
Unless Watford won, and then they were done, weren't they? So, but just before we actually go into the game, I just want to tell you. So, going back to Aston Villa versus Sheffield United with the whole ghost goal thing, where it wasn't given, which in today's age of technology, there's no excuse. Do you think Bournemouth are right to feel aggrieved? Because Bournemouth literally did what they needed to do to stay up, but still didn't stay up in the end. Where if that had happened, I mean, you've got to say then if that happens, everything happens the same. It might not. Aston Villa go down if that goal goes in.
Well, we had that conversation on the first podcast we did about that ghost goal. We said, when it end of the season, where will that go and what will happen with that? So you're right. The thing is, hindsight's a wonderful thing because like we say, Villa could have equalised later on. So
yeah, of course, yeah, that's what I mean. You've got to assume everything goes the same. Yeah.
If you're going to say that it would have ended the way Sheffield United scored, it would have ended 1-0.
Yeah.
Frustrated about, but you could also say that Bournemouth still had a lot of games. They played Palace on opening game since and were battered by Crystal Palace.
Yeah, it's all right.
They've not really performed that well, Bournemouth. But Eddie Howe's had a lot of injuries, and I think injuries have really cost Bournemouth this year. Because Bournemouth have always been one of them teams that do really well against the big teams. They're always out. They're never that far down. They're never that far down. But this year, due to injuries, it's really, really blown it.
I don't think anyone doing a Premier League predictor would have put them in the bottom 3. I think they would have thought they'll be like 15th or something, or 14th. Yeah. I think it did come as I think it came as a shock to them, to be honest with you as well. And like you say, you look at that squad. There's some really good players in it, like Nathaniel Ake and Josh King. They're good. These are good players. They're not terrible players or anything. But
I think they're going to lose a lot of players. I think it'd be very difficult. I think if you was a betting man, you wouldn't bet on Bournemouth to come straight back up.
No. Well,
Same players.
this is something I was going to ask you. So basically, Aston Villa's 1-1 draw was enough to keep them up, and they actually went 1-0 up, so they're pretty safe anyway, weren't they? But Norwich, obviously, bottom, went down. They're going to lose players. I think Max Aarons is already linked with Bayern Munich. You've got to think... Say again?
It's a big...
Well, I think some of the I don't think the problems, if you look at these teams, some of the problems are the players. Some of the players are good players. It's just necessarily the systems. Now, here's something I wanted to ask you. Nigel Pearson stays at Watford. Do you think Watford stay up?
I think it was very, very, very harsh to get rid of him. I really do. But then you look at the games that he had left anyway, and they guaranteed him anyway.
They're not, but you've got to remember his systems aren't the systems that, like, especially the Arsenal game. That hasn't been a system Watford have played pretty much all season. So, you think about maybe they'd have gone in a bit more pragmatic. And
I think Hayden Mullins' first game was City, wasn't it? Away.
Yes.
City score 4 or 5 every time they go to Watford. So I don't care what manager you have. With that, City always get 5 there, and then they go to Arsenal, which is again, Arsenal have not. They've got something. They've got the FA Cup to think about. I think when we go into that game, is Arsenal were there for Watford to have a really good go. I just think it were done after a couple of minutes, and I think
because they got the early goals.
It's a difficult one. Again, I think it's another one of them where it's a difficult one to think of because with the games he had left. Can you see them getting anything against City and then getting some at Arsenal?
Well, possibly not. But I think with Pearson, that might not have gone down with such a whimper. I mean, Danny Welbeck's close to equalising here with would have been a beautiful goal.
He deserves to see out the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, something's happened on it. Something bigger than just the results. Something has happened with that football club. Because you wouldn't just sack a guy with 2 games to go, would you?
3 managers they've had. 3 or 4 managers.
Yeah, one they sacked before and brought back. Well, anyway, so... Say again?
Something seriously wrong at that club.
There is. And I remember they stayed up one year and I think they finished like 17th or something. And they sacked the manager and the owner came on BBC Radio and he was talking about how Watford want to do better and they want to do, and I'm almost like you're kind of a bit full of yourself here. What are you expecting? And I mean, did you see Troy Deeney when he got interviewed on Sky? Which we can't say to don't swear. That was funny. He's only 32, but but then I look at him and I look at some of the players. They've got a bit of an older squad, haven't they, Watford? I think they're going to have some problems getting rid of a few of those players.
But then again, we talk about Bournemouth injuries, but Watford injuries as well. I mean, they lost Gerard Deulofeu, who's probably their best player.
Yeah, well, Danny Welbeck probably he's always injured, isn't he? So
Etienne Capoue is one of their good players. So we talk about when you take Salah and Firmino out of our team, or Salah and Mane, or you can see the difference up front. You take Deulofeu and you take one of their best midfielders in Capoue out, you lose something, and that's the difference.
I agree with you, but I also have this thing in my head where I feel like Premier League teams can't really complain about squad depth because everyone in the Premier League does have some money. Do you know what I mean? There's no teams in Premier League struggling financially, so you should have a squad to go. I mean, for me, I look at Norwich and you go back to that Man United game in FA Cup and the way they're set up. It's like it's almost like they wouldn't let themselves play like that in the league. And it's like if they played like that, they might have stayed up.
He didn't change anything though, did he? He didn't bring anybody in. And he thought, and full credit to Norwich. They said, right, we're not going to change. We're just going to go at people, have a go. Okay, it didn't work, but they had a go. I just think I agree in some ways, but I think you look at people's transfer budgets, and if they can't, if Chelsea lose a player, Man City lose a player, they can easily go out and replace them. But if you haven't got that strength in depth to replace Gerard Deulofeu or to replace Capoue,
Yeah. Well, Watford spend all the money on budgets and managers, I think. So. But
yeah,
Bournemouth, did you see how much money Bournemouth actually spent? I mean, look at you sold him Dom Solanke, who got off us, right? He's not good enough at Premier League. He might be good in Championship, actually. You never know, but he's not good enough at Premier League. They've almost bought like some of the players they've bought. They're not. Some of them aren't very. I mean, they've got some very good players, Bournemouth, but some of the players they've got are not very good at all.
Fraser even did there for since lockdown either.
No, he's gone, hasn't
he? He refused to play. So,
which if he'd have played, maybe.
I'm saying so. They've had injuries. To be honest with you, probably apart from Aston Villa, do you know, Norwich and Bournemouth and Watford have had half of the best team missing, and Villa haven't really.
Do you feel like Bournemouth have got a bit stale though? Like Eddie Howe, maybe he's been there a bit too long, and it's gone a bit. It's like I almost feel like Sean Dyche should leave Burnley now, because I feel like I don't think Burnley are going to get a better finish than 10th in the Premier League. I feel like this is probably the best they're going to get. You know, they finished on the same points as Sheffield United in the end, which is quite weird in the end, isn't it? I mean, I think everyone tipped Sheffield United to go down start of the season, and they've been fantastic. But you know, Eddie Howe now, is he going to stay and bring them back up, or is he going to move on? What do you think?
Depends who's going to take it. I mean, if he's looking for another Premier League, who's in line to go? That's the thing.
West Ham, maybe. Can't see him keeping Moyes.
I think it'd be unfair to get rid of David Moyes. I really do. I think he needs to be given a chance. He did well for them that year, and they didn't keep him on. And after that season, they didn't renew his contract. He's kept them in the league this year. I don't think West Ham.
They only survived by 3 points, though, didn't they? 5 points. Only survived by 5 points.
They weren't going to get out from.
I'm not convinced by David Moyes, but I get what you're saying. He's done like the job he was brought in to do. But if they want to kick on, they need to kind of.
But do you think it is
aspiring for more?
He deserves a season, doesn't he?
Probably, yeah.
He deserves a season to
get like some transfer. Yeah, you make a good point actually. Anyway, let's just go to Aston Villa then, and we'll finish up on this. Right, for me, the most important thing, taking away that goal, Jack Grealish. If Aston Villa didn't have Jack Grealish, they'd have been done for. I think if it weren't for him, they would have been bottom for me. I think he has been that much of a difference to them. And you look at the Arsenal game. I thought it was fantastic in the Arsenal game when they won. And then you look at him against West Ham. He scored the goal. I mean, he sort of scored West Ham's goal, didn't he? Because it deflected off. But I feel like he has been that important to him. And I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you agree with that, or do you think differently? I
think Jack Grealish is undoubtedly Aston Villa's best player. I think he hasn't been very good since lockdown. I think he's not been great since they've come back. I think the last couple, maybe because he wasn't fit.
Maybe
the games have gone on. The games have got better as the scoring's starting to come back a bit now. And I think as it got further and further on, he got better and he got into it more. But I think he had a game against Man United where he was awful.
Yeah, but do you not think that he?
I think he's a lot.
Him being on the pitch, it was a bit like England without Wayne Rooney, which that's a big comparison because England, Wayne Rooney, different level of player, but it's almost like when that player's on there, those players believe a bit more. Does that make sense?
It does. I think if you want to see Jack Grealish get any better, then he has to leave.
Yeah.
But then,
I agree. Yeah.
The money they're talking, which full marks to Aston Villa. Do you know, if you're going to sell him, you sell him.
They've got a right to ask for it. Yeah.
Well, and I think the price going around now is 80 million. Who's going to spend 80 million pound on Jack Grealish?
Do you know why I think they've put 80 million on him? I think they know he's only worth about 40, 45. But I think they want to get about 60. So I think they've put 80 million on because they know it's almost like if you put 60 million on him, it's going to go for about his sort of ratio price of 45, 50 million. Whereas if you put 80 million on, you can.
I think it's a bit like Zaha. It's a bit like Zaha for Palace, where you can see the difference when they're not playing, but you'll see a big difference if they both leave.
Yeah, and Matt's will bring up Zaha actually. Do you think very good comparison actually? Do you think he needs to move now?
I think he's going to go anyway. I think he should have gone this season. I think, but
Well,
Crystal
they won't
Palace.
let him, would they?
But again, full marks to Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
I mean, why should you sell your best players?
Yeah.
Why should you? You know? And he said he want Zaha's best season this year at all.
No, I agree. Well, I think Palace since lockdown have been poor.
He still played. Still went out and played. Full match. He refused to play, but he went out. He played. Yeah, he did want to go to Arsenal this summer, and I think, in my opinion, Unai wanted him, but the ball wanted Pepe. Now that's what I think, but whether that's true or not, I'm not quite sure. And
I think there's evidence that supports that from what we've heard. Emery himself has pretty much said that, hasn't he? So, I wanted to ask you something. Actually, I was having a bit of a debate on Twitter with a Man United fan. I think going from Palace to Everton is a step up, and he didn't agree with me. And Everton are a bigger club than Crystal Palace, right? And Everton's problem is Everton are probably always going to be bridesmaids because they're just the club they are. But the position they're in now with a manager like Ancelotti, they've almost got to take some risks now. And for me, Zaha would improve that team enough. And, that would be a step up enough for him. I feel like if he steps up to top 4 team, he's not going to work in the top 4 team for me. I think his position is that tier under that.
I think Everton, and people will laugh, Everton are one of the biggest clubs in the Premier League.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Massive club. People go, they're not. Yeah, back in the 80s and 70s, they were huge. They used to.
And they've spent a lot of money. One day they're going to get it right. One day it's going to happen. Right. Yeah.
I think Everton is. I think Palace. I mean, who would you go to? I mean, Palace are a good Premier League team, and I think
they are. Yeah.
But again, Everton, they're on a rocky road, a real rocky road, because if Ancelotti can't get it right, and I think this is big. I think this is Ancelotti's biggest job.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
And we'll see. I've always said, and I've said this for years, I've said it on podcasts, where you think, right, you're a great manager. I've always said about Pep, go manage another team that doesn't have a lot of money.
They're not going to though, are they? Yeah.
Go manage a team that aren't as good, and let's see how good you are. This is what we see with Ancelotti now. Ancelotti's a great manager. If he gets Everton into a top 8 place,
so they get Europa League.
Yeah, then that's a brilliant season.
Yeah,
and he's overachieved. He'll overachieved because that squad, right? I think there's people in that squad that don't play for the badge, and they'll get the money and they go.
I agree with you, yeah.
Leighton Baines is retired now.
Can we just make a comment? What a fantastic Premier League player!
And he could have gone to any of the top 4 teams in the Premier League.
Yeah, he could have done. Yeah, at one stage, yeah.
And I think Man United was always linked with Leighton Baines, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I think they tried to sign him under Moyes, didn't they?
And he was great, and I think he was missed. But then you've got people like Sigurdsson, turns up when he wants to turn up.
Yeah.
You've got Moyes, bad attitude, again, turns up when he wants to come up. Theo Walcott, exactly the same at Everton as he was at Arsenal.
Yeah, he's inconsistent, isn't he? Yeah.
They spent £35 million on Iwobi. Yeah, he's only young as Iwobi. He'll get better. But I just don't know Everton. They've always been, like you said.
Let's just say, take Iwobi out, put Zaha in. That makes that team a bit better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I think there's a lot of ego. There's a lot of big heads at Everton.
Well, it's up to Ancelotti to get those players out, isn't it? So
for me, a great season for Everton would be finishing the top 10 and beat Liverpool at least once. And I think
that'd probably be a great season for me. Yeah.
A lot of Everton fans will take that as being a really good season.
Well, let's face it, mate. They couldn't even beat your kids in FA Cups. They've got no chance. Just before we move on, then, so we'll just finish on relegation. Then I want to have a quick chat about David Silva. Relegation. Do you think is that what you expected? Going into final day, I thought Villa were going to survive. So I don't know about you.
I can't remember what we said now. I don't want to say.
I don't mean weeks ago. I just mean like Friday going into Saturday or Sunday, whenever it was.
I thought after Villa's win at Arsenal, I think it was the best time to play Arsenal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Just after them 2 really grueling games against Liverpool and City.
Yeah.
That was the best time to play them, and I think full marks to Villa. They were very good on the night. I just thought West Ham are safe now. They have nothing to play for now.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
They've got the best one to play.
And they took a point off Man U, they took 2 points. Got a point off Man U on midweek. I almost felt like that will probably it for them. That's probably when they thought, we've gone beach now.
Yeah. But I would have said Villa to stay up, especially after the win they've had. Watford had Arsenal, and I never thought that Watford was going to beat Arsenal.
No, I didn't either, yeah.
I thought Bournemouth were done already.
See, but Bournemouth won, so it was almost like they weren't done, were they?
So it'd be interesting to see how Bournemouth get on, because I think when the season starts again, a lot of them players won't be there, sadly, for Bournemouth.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to watch that space, and I actually think it'd be good to cover a bit more Championship next season if we can, just on odd occasions, just to get a bit in. So we'll just move. I just want to talk about David Silva, Premier League legend, quite possibly Man City's best ever player, at least in the conversation. What do you think about David Silva leaving? What's your opinion on David Silva?
You know what? Right, honestly, I think David Silva was a very good player at Valencia. I think he was a very good player at Valencia. And I think he was known at Valencia as being a really good player. But I think he's come to City and become a world-class player.
I think we didn't know how good he was.
No, I
agree with you.
He's a little man, who's come in and never loses the ball really much, never gives a pass away. And he's just incredible. And I think, Sergio Aguero is City's greatest goal scorer. And then the argument is Aguero or Silva the best ever City player? I'm going to go David Silva. The reason I'll say David Silva is because he wasn't paying Aguero for the spot on.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I think what you'd say is everyone's got a top three, and those two are cemented in that top three, aren't they? Yeah.
Probably them company is probably your three biggest.
Yeah, and then probably Yaya Toure and players like that,
yeah.
I just think as well David Silva is one of those players like, what's that?
Mika Richards.
I love Mika Richards, though. He's great on Wonder Tree. David Silva for me is one of those players that you don't ever dislike him. He doesn't seem to have a bad bone in his body. He's a bit like Zola was for us, anyway. You couldn't dislike, even if you wanted to hate him, you couldn't hate him because he's just such a nice guy in that. I think in terms of attacking midfielders in the Premier League, he's probably in that conversation for best ever in that category as well. I won't say midfielder because it's a broad range. You've got defensive centre or whatever, but I think attacking mid, I think there's an argument. I always say this. I don't like to say somebody's the best ever because I feel like it's hard to choose, but I feel like you can say there's people in the conversation. I think David Silva is certainly in the conversation.
He can play all over the park, really. But okay, apart from the back, but he can play anywhere in midfield, anywhere on the wings. I think he, for a certain amount of time, I probably still do a great job. I just think, overall, it'll be a huge miss, and
I think it's a shame. I think it's such a shame. Say again?
He could still do another season in the Premier League.
Oh, easy.
I don't know why anyone in the Premier League or anybody else. Where's he going? Is he going to China?
I think he wanted to go, didn't he? I don't think he wants to stay in the Premier League anymore. I think he said he wanted to go, try something new. I'm not sure where he's going, actually. I thought he was going back to Spain. I didn't realise he was...
Good luck to him. And the thing with David Silva is the thing with Liverpool winning the title is that he's never had that chance for everyone to get that great send off, and he deserved that. He deserved fans in the ground to give him a big cheer.
Yeah.
Do all the presentation for him.
Is he not staying on for the Champions League campaign then?
He might be doing, yeah, but that's the thing. I've heard that. I haven't heard if he's going to be doing that. But again, fans in there as well as
No, true.
He's going to bring him back, and they're going to do some presentation.
Yeah, that would be a good thing to do.
He so deserves that.
Yeah. So we agreed, one of the best Premier League players ever.
Yeah.
Premier League legend. Right. So moving on from there to the battle. I'll call it the battle for Europe because we need to mention Tottenham because it's just hilarious. So I'll just read the results out because it'd be easier to talk about rather than. So basically, Chelsea needed a point to get Champions League because the way it went, Man U and Leicester were playing each other. One of them was going to lose points, so 1 point was going to get Chelsea in the Champions League. That was all they needed. And we had a comfortable 2-0 win over Wolves. I think it was uncomfortable and then we scored 2 goals in the first half, and second half was just done. Because we beat Wolves, Tottenham drew with Palace and finished 6th, so they got Europa League and celebrated like they'd won the Europa League. But I will say this. I would not be shocked if they won that competition next season, which I just think... I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if they did, just because I feel like Jose's been brought in to win a trophy, whether it's the League Cup, the FA Cup, Europa League. We're not going to say Community Shields because we don't count them. So if he won that, that'd be it for him, and then they'd be like, "Oh, thanks, Jose, got that trophy now."
Yeah, I think Wolves, for some reason, have sort of run out of gas. I think they've run out of gas.
Well, I think Arsenal exposed them, eh?
Played more games than anybody this year, Wolves, because they started off in Europa League.
Yeah. I think it was a year to the day, wasn't it, or something? Yeah, the other day, yeah.
Played a load of games, and I think, to be honest with you, I think Chelsea over the season have been. I think they've.
Were you frozen, Dougie? Come back to me.
Is he gone?
Oh, you're back now.
Yeah, I think with, as I was saying, with Frank Lampard not having a transfer window at the start, maybe that was the best thing for Chelsea this year, that they didn't have that, and they could have a look and see who else was there. And it was fabulous for Frank Lampard. I really do. I think he's had a great season.
Yeah, I do as well. Yeah.
But for Chelsea and for him, the FA Cup final, good luck to him. Good luck to him in the final. Same with Arteta. Good luck to Arteta in the final. 2 young managers, and it's going to be some final. It's going to be some.
I don't want to talk about it. We'll talk about it next week after it's been.
I think one thing Wolves have to think about now is trying to keep hold of the manager, because you just never know what's going to happen with the manager.
So if we win the FA Cup, Wolves get Europa League.
If Arsenal win, Arsenal get Europa League.
Yeah, then they miss out. But Wolves can still win the Europa League and get Champions League. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. But imagine if it did, that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Hey, tell you what, right? I would love to see Wolves win the Europa League.
Just because it's something new as well. Yeah.
Europa League. I like them.
I do. I mean, look at Adama Traore's been an absolute revelation, I think, this season. He's such a powerhouse.
He's grown. Yeah. He's grown in size. I mean, blooming hell, he's massive. Yeah. His final ball's better, and that's what he likes all the time. Yeah. His final ball, but they've got him. They've got Jimenez. They're keeping hold of Jimenez. Keeping hold of Traore. Yeah. Big window. It's a big window for Wolves as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that was pretty standard. I mean, I was nervous as hell going in, but I mean, Mason, that free kick Mason Mount score was incredible. And did you see the picture of him when he was a kid scoring the same free kick? That's crazy, that though, isn't it? Yeah.
I feel for Mason Mount because I think he's these new players are bringing in. It's going to push him out.
You know what? I'm going to slightly disagree with you, because basically what's going to happen now is Mount is going to get pushed to be better because of the other players coming in. And let's not forget, Chelsea are in how many competitions? There's going to be loads of football to play. I know what you're saying, but it's up to him now to push that narrative and say. I mean, the thing you got to remember is, I mean, Mount. I think when Mount plays, we play. I think this season when we've not played well, Mount's not played well, or he's not been on the team.
So Chelsea have not got a massive squad either, and that's the thing. I think they're building a good squad now.
Yeah,
they're not on a massive squad for ages.
I just want to point out Giroud as well, because I feel like he has been to think that went in January as well. I think he's the reason we've got top 4, because he has just come in and he just does a job.
I actually think Frank Lampard didn't trust Giroud at first as well.
I don't think it. I think it was I don't think he worked in the system. We've tweaked the system a little bit now, but the guy just works his socks off.
But Tammy Abraham went off the boil, and I think
he did. I think he got tired though.
And I think he thought, we'll have to bring Giroud in now.
He should have scored on last day as well, Tammy Abraham, but
he should have bloody passed as well.
Well, it should have passed maybe, yeah, but
I was like.
But going away from that, so basically at half time we knew we were in the Champions League, because Even if most Wolves were going to score 2 and we'd have been in anyway. So then it was over to Man United and Leicester. And Man United were I think Man United have got very tired the last 3 or 4 games. And I think when we beat them in the FA Cup, we pretty much exposed their tiredness in that game, I think. And there'd been a few games before that, they'd got a bit lucky in the Palace game and stuff. And, I think big clubs do have that kind of luck where I think it's talented players get you that luck, if that makes sense. But the Leicester game, Leicester were missing chances after chances. I mean, Morgan missed a chance. Somebody hit the bar, didn't they? I can't remember exactly who it was now. But anyway, they had
it was a free. Was it? Oh, it was Vardy with a header, wasn't it?
Vardy, yeah. They had that centre back. Is it Sioncho or something? I can't pronounce it. He was out. I mean, his own fault, idiot. Chilwell wasn't playing. Was I right about that?
Yeah, well, there's still a lot of talk with Chelsea for Chilwell. Still a lot of talk with that.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with that.
On Chilwell, but if Frank Lampard wants to build a squad, then he's a good player, Ben Chilwell.
Yeah, I'm not 100% convinced by the guy, but if Frank Lampard wants him, then who am I to argue? What do I know? I'm just
who's your left back?
Alonso. See, Alonso's actually been quite good since lockdown. He was very good against Wolves.
Ben Chilwell is a good player.
I think the thing about Alonso is getting on a bit now. I think we'll keep Alonso, but we'll just get somebody else to play.
No, I don't think Frank Lampard really liked, because he's only just come in last couple of
yeah. Well, Emerson was playing a bit, wasn't he? And Emerson, since he's been basically saying he's off, they've not played him. So
it's interesting that. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I've had to call on people he didn't really want to call on, and I think they've worked for him in the end.
Yeah, they've done a job. Yeah, well, I think the thing as well, when you're in these situations where you need Champions League, experienced players, get you the win. And then back to the Leicester game. Anyway, we had it was Morgan and Johnny Evans actually made a brilliant tackle, and Morgan took him out, didn't he? I don't know what Morgan was doing, to be honest.
Evans got sent off, didn't he?
That was later, that though, wasn't it? But this is for the penalty. It was a great tackle by Evans, but then he basically rugby tackled him, got a penalty, and I feel like I don't know if Man U would have scored without that penalty. It's one of those interesting.
I'll be honest.
We can never say never, can we? But
I never really watched the game. I was just flicking between all.
Yeah, have you not seen the highlights since then?
I was watching a lot more of the Arsenal game because of the
Yeah, because if Watford scored it, we're going to get really interesting.
That was getting more close.
And they nearly did. They nearly did as well.
So I was more bothered about relegation. I think top 4. I think as soon as Chelsea went 2-0 up, I thought that was done. And I just after seeing the missed chances, I just thought United are going to punish you soon.
It's not going to be their day. Yeah.
And then when I found out that they got a penalty, I was like, again, I thought Bruno Fernandes for ill score, and that was it. And
yeah,
I think Leicester got tired. I think the season gone on. I think they got tired, and I think.
Yeah, no. As well, the thing to think about is with Man United when they went 1-0 up, Leicester had to score twice then, because they had to win, didn't they? They were never going to win. Yeah.
I think the top 4 again was as I thought it would be. Thought United.
Yeah.
Chelsea would. I didn't think Chelsea was ever going to get out of it. I thought I think they deserved to be there, and I think United scraped through on the final day. But that again, it could have been for Man United. It could have been a lot different. It could have been a lot.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they've gone on an incredible run since the start of January. I think it was when they got Fernandes in, but yeah, then Johnny Evans got sent off, which was a straight red. I mean, I think Johnny Evans has got that in him where he can. I think he loses his head sometimes and goes in a bit rashly.
Sometimes can Evans.
And then Jesse Lingard scored, which was a shot. Now, Jesse Lingard apparently had a lot of mental health problems, and I started to feel a bit sorry for him when I heard that. It's a bit of a shame, but do you think his agent's going to sell him as the man who got Man United Champions League for the winning goal?
I think Lingard's a good player. I think
he needs to move, though, doesn't he? Now,
I think for me, he's one of them scapegoat players in football.
Yeah, he scored in FA Cup final when they won it, didn't he?
We all have them where there is.
Yeah, of course we do. Yeah,
I think he is one of them I think because he's quite outgoing as well. I think, and he's not arrogant. He's not arrogant. I think he's one of them he has a lot of fun, and I think sometimes when it doesn't happen, everyone's on his back then. And I think,
yeah, I get what you're saying. Like if he was having this fun, but say it was Bruno Fernandes having this fun because he's playing. They won't have a go at him, would they? Yeah, I see what you're saying. So top four was done. Relegation done. So yeah, Man United and Chelsea both finished on 66 points, but we only had a 15 goal difference. They had a 30 goal difference, so they were 15 goals better off than us. I'm glad the season's over because I could not have handled much more of that because as it was getting towards the end, and even when we went 5 points clear in the top four, I was starting to get concerned because I knew the games we had coming up. Now, this has probably been a brilliant season for you. For me, I'm not sure if I've enjoyed it as such. Like, I've kind of enjoyed getting back into something where I'm under pressure because it's nice, whereas Man City must have been bored, last couple of games of the season. They must have been bored. I mean, even you must have been a bit bored, but, you were the champion, so you had that trophy lift day to look forward to. But
yeah, I think
when there's nothing going for you. But I feel like this season, because I knew we had Werner coming in and we're possibly getting Havertz. And, I mean, I don't know much about these players. I've just been told they're really good. But it's almost like we had to get Champions League for them. And if we hadn't, it would have been disappointing. Now, I think the thing we have to talk about here is Leicester. Leicester, at one stage, were like 15 points clear of Man United in January. So, yeah, they were talking of them basically not catching you, but closing the gap to you a little bit so that they'd be closer. But then they've dropped out completely. And what do you think about if you got the start of the season, this is a good season for Leicester. But if you actually look at what happened, it's not, is it? Do you get my drift?
Yeah, because I think it's been sort of as like 2 different seasons, hasn't it? Because it were gone for so, and Leicester have come back and they've not performed. I mean, I think they do miss James Maddison. I think they've missed Maddison a lot.
Yeah.
I think they've missed him a lot. Vardy's not really done anything. I know he finished top goal scorer, but he's not done a right lot since they've come back off lockdown.
I know what you mean, because even the games he's scored in, he's kind of been a bit quiet in the games, isn't he? But he's just popped. I mean, he got the golden boot, so he's probably slipped on a personal level. I bet it's swap his golden boot for a top 4 place.
Oh, absolutely. Leicester have sort of gone, it looked like, oh, well, we were great until lockdown. And it's like, we can't, I don't even get to that height again. And it felt like there was a real drop from, and Brendan Rodgers did the same at Liverpool. The season he got.
Well, I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
He got fired. We hardly won the games.
Do you kind of feel like he's a bit? I don't want to kind of say he's a fraud because I don't think that's the right term because he is a good manager. But do you kind of feel like he's kind of sold everyone a bit of a false narrative about himself? Like there was a stage where he came in. I had my mates texting me saying, "Oh, I'm surprised, he's better than Lampard." And then, Man U. Oh, why didn't Man U get him? Why didn't Arsenal get him? And you look now and you think, well, maybe this is why, because I could win the league at Celtic, right? I'm not just saying that. I literally think I could go into Celtic for one season and win the league at the end of the season because they're just that. You know what I mean? They're just that kind of team. Maybe not me. I'm just joking. But you know what I mean? Don't you get what I'm saying? Don't you? But it's
really confident.
I will say one thing about Brendan Rodgers at Celtic. That is the best I've seen Celtic in these years where it's been the SPL has been one team. They were phenomenal under him. They were breaking records left, right, and centre. But how good is he? Because like that Liverpool season, could you really attribute that more to Suarez, the player, than Brendan Rodgers? You know what I mean? Like he almost led you to almost getting the title. Do you get what I mean? No.
Yeah, there's a real thingy about this, and it's been said for a long time that they were saying about Suarez and Sturridge were the reason Liverpool had.
Yeah, sorry, I should have brought Sturridge up actually because Sturridge is phenomenal. Yeah,
season, and Brendan Rodgers had nothing to do with. And I get what people are saying. I think he's a good look. He has to train these people. He has to put his ideas in. He has to make them play football the way they want to play. And I think it's unfair to say that about Brendan Rodgers for Liverpool. Yeah, you take them two players out of any of the first teams, they're not going to be great.
Well, I was gonna make a comparison to Solskjaer with Fernandes. You know, if Man United don't get Fernandes in January, they probably don't get top 4, do they?
No.
In all honesty, and then obviously Pogba came back, and Pogba's played quite well and stuff. They've almost had everyone back at, like Rashford were injured, wasn't he? He came back at the right time and stuff. And like you say, Leicester with injuries got unluckier and unluckier.
Leicester have to perform next season because look at Ranieri. Ranieri is Leicester's most successful manager in the Premier League. Season after he got sacked. So if Brendan Rodgers has finished all season, I wouldn't have said Leicester would have finished out in the top 4.
No.
I thought Leicester, bang on, Man City, Leicester and Liverpool, they're your top 3. And it's the battle with the rest of them for the 4th. But then after lockdown, I saw a different Leicester team. I just saw that they slipped so much. But then, is that Brendan Rodgers' fault? Is that just because the team in the end was...
Well, I was going to bring this up. Do you think... Because I think Ben Chilwell, since they've come back, has looked poor. Do you think he's had his mind on Chelsea? Because...
He could have.
You know, and you said about Maddison got injured. That defender, Sionchu, whatever, got sent off. You know, Vardy's 33 now, is he?
Well, so he's not got a lot.
Can Leicester replace Jamie Vardy after this? This is the kind of questions I'm asking now.
And I think you've also found out as well that, again, Leicester are similar, where apart from their first 11, they've got Demarai Gray is a good player.
Yeah. They've not got. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
He's not gonna get you top 4.
No.
I think if that first 11, any of that first 11 get injured, you're going to see an issue. James Maddison got injured. You saw that creativity in midfield just vanish.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it did. I mean, the game we played, we beat them in the FA Cup, and we were a bit lucky that day, to be honest. But they didn't look like they were going to score. They had more of the ball, and they kind of were almost. I feel like every time I've watched them since lockdown, that's what they've been like. They've not created anything. They had a 0-0 draw, didn't they, against, was it Norwich? I think it was Norwich, was it? And they were poor in that game. They didn't even look like scoring.
But like I said, next season is
big season for them.
Absolutely, yeah.
But do you know, when you go back to like when they stayed up in 2015, what like, you know, it's 2020 now, so 6 years they've had. They've won the Premier League, they've played in the Champions League. You know, they've pushed, they've beat loads of big teams in Premier League. They've had such, you know, they've not finished like outside the top 6, have they, since they won the league? I don't think they've been below 6, have they? Or they've not been like below 7th or something anyway. They've not been basically in any danger of getting relegated. So when you look at it that way, they've actually had a very brilliant like 6 years. And then this year, at the start of the season, they might have beat your hand off for 5th, but because they were so clear. And
winning the league, they're never going to have a season where they can do better. I think that sometimes when you, I mean, Liverpool might find out in years to come we've won the Premier League. You know, you've got to go on and do it again, and do it again, and do it again.
Yeah.
Not to better every season. They're never going to better that season. So anything that they get now.
But say they won an FA Cup or something, that'd be a brilliant season for them, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean? If they just won an FA Cup and finished 5th or something like that, they'd probably be quite happy with that, wouldn't they?
But it's whether it's who they sign and who they keep in the summer, and whether they can keep Brendan Rodgers. You never know. I mean, someone will take him.
Well, when he got linked to Arsenal, he was basically talking like he were open to the idea of going, which he always seems to be. I think he's a bit like that. But you know, like you say, I mean, will Leicester, if he has another season, will the board sack him?
Wow. So I think there's loads of things next season that are going to be very interesting to watch.
Yeah, well, I think we're not going to do it yet, because if we do it now, there's all sorts of transfers and things that could happen. After the Champions League and Europa League are done, I think we should do a season preview for next year. Yeah. Next season, we'll just have a laugh. You know, we'll say who do you think's going to win league, who's going to win top 4, who's going to get relegated. I mean, I'd have put Sheffield United in this year, and they were nowhere near. So you just never know. So I think it's been an interesting season. I almost feel like now there's been such a gap between Liverpool, Man City, and everyone else. I do feel like that might start to close next season a bit because of the talent that Chelsea are bringing in and possibly Man United are bringing in, it will make it. And I think it'd be a more interesting league because we don't want to turn out like Germany or Scotland or France where it's one team every year. I mean, you'd love it if Liverpool kept winning the league, but
I think a lot of teams now, there's your benchmark. Your benchmark the last couple of seasons have been to catch Manchester City. And if you get past Manchester City, you're going to win the league. Now you've got to get past City and you've got to get past Liverpool. Right? It's a benchmark. People know that you have to be better than them two teams. You have to buy better to be better than Chelsea, to be better than Man United. People buy. I don't know who people do buy. Chelsea are buying players now. United they're going to buy players. If Arsenal want to be in contention for top four, they have to buy players. So it's going to be
I've got some thoughts on Arsenal, which I'll say for our next season preview, because I feel like what happens Saturday could determine what happens, but I'll get into that when we talk about it. So,
just on that, do you think Aubameyang will stay at the end? I think he's.
I'm not sure. Do you know why I think he might? Because I don't know who's after him as well. I think he's somebody.
Have you?
Say again, sorry.
Really heard anyone saying they're after him?
That's what I mean. I do think if somebody like Barcelona or Real Madrid came in, I think he'd go, but I don't feel like they're going to be in for him.
I think a lot of these players will be. A lot of these people like Ozil, Guendouzi, and all that, they'll be gone.
Well, Guendouzi's gone for me because he's not even been on bench, has he?
No,
he's even been on bench.
Ozil came to put his new shirt on, and they're right, take it off now. And you're not wearing that again. And I just think, I think he'll sign. I really do.
I'm not saying anything. I think it might depend on Saturday, but I also think it might depend on if people come in for him, because if he's going to go, he needs to go now. If not, he needs to just stay at Arsenal, because this is probably his last. What is he, 32? This is his last chance. Yeah. But
quick as hell.
You get 3 years, get 3 seasons in. If he gets a move to Barcelona now, that's going to be it, innit? I'm not saying he's going to Barcelona. I'm just using him as an example. So it all depends on that. Something I do want to mention before we go is congratulations to Juventus on winning the Serie A again. Ronaldo got 32 in 31. What a player.
He really is.
Congratulations to Real Madrid and Zidane. I think I'm starting to change my opinion on Zidane. I was thinking how good is Zidane, but I think to win the league this year with Real Madrid, when he bought Eden Hazard and Eden Hazard has not played very well at all, I think that's been pretty phenomenal, and he's done it with a good defence, which proves to me he is versatile, because his previous teams weren't necessarily the best defensively, and it's almost like, well, he knows how to change his team a bit. So
I think if Hazard doesn't perform next season, he'll be gone the year after.
Yeah, I do. Probably to France or somewhere, because Real Madrid, they quickly turn their attention, don't they, to someone else.
Oh, well, the truth is, though, when he first signed, the fans were chatting we wanted Mbappe. So it was already screwed.
Mbappe now, his injury, I think that might have put him out of going from PSG, because I think it's like a month injury. That might... Yeah, it did, yeah. I think he's only out for 3 or 4 weeks, though, but that might be enough for him to keep him, because people might think, well, I'm not buying.
Players of his caliber, players of his spin, like when Michael Owen got injured, Michael Owen was electrically quick. But then when he got his injury at Leeds, he was just never that quick anymore. I just think when these fast players, these injuries, especially for the legs and stuff like that, they never. I mean, I could be completely wrong. He might just come and burst past everybody again. But I think sometimes when these big players,
I know it's something to think about, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it's like, but true is, I think that was just. It wasn't somewhere he's running fast. Someone's caught him. Literally, someone's just gone bang, haven't they? He's not.
Yeah, I remember seeing Michael Owen run once, and I think his hamstring went as he was running and stuff. And I think that they're the injuries that do quick players. But yeah, so I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I want to mention before we go. Just looking forward to Saturday's FA Cup final and the European competitions, and then literally after that, I think it's like a fortnight and Premier League's back.
I think on the Premier League coming back, there's a lot of things to look out for, and I think this has been like a massive pre-season for them.
Yeah.
Hopefully, everyone, and I think the thing we want fans back. I mean, they're saying October.
Yeah, we're talking about a second COVID wave coming in 2 weeks. So
You
I don't know
mate,
how they know that. But
I've watched football now, and I've watched it for all this time, and I even forgot the fans are even there anymore. Because even though it's not been that long, and we're not had many 9 games, is it? Without
it's not been many, yeah. Well, it's been more because everyone's been playing, but yeah, it's been 9 games each, and
You're sort of used to it now.
Yeah.
But the way the world's moment, you're used to this way of life now. This way of life, the last way of life doesn't seem so far away.
We
now.
went so long about football, though. I think we just wanted it back, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right then. So I think that's us, isn't it? So we'll try and get an episode or 2 in next week, and we'll do that end of season.
Absolutely.
Review thing like who do you think's been player at season and stuff, and then we'll try and catch up after your holiday for like the Champions League and stuff, and then because that's going to be quite exciting because I think because our teams are in it as well, we can just sort of go relax.
Thank you, Bob. I'll let you lead us out because it's been that long.
As ever.
As ever, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let you lead us out because it's been that long.
No worries, mate.
I'm normally messing.
Yeah, so if you want to email us any questions, not that we get any, you can email us at plseasons@gmail.com, and we are on Twitter at plseasons. Hit us up, give us a like on this and a share, and we're open to having other fans on. So if you like it and you want to come on, just drop us a DM and we'll try and get you on if we can. So that's us.
Yeah.
Right then. Thank you very much, Dougie.
Good night.
Good night.